Hello guys and welcome back for the August JRPG news roundup. We're going to start the Falcom news as always. On the merge side of things, Promethean Books have stated that the Ys board game called Ys Age of Heroes will release on the 1st of October and occurs 100 years after the events of Ys 1 and 2. Pre-orders will begin on September the 10th. Pre-orders for the Figma of Arian Road and the Moderoid of Argrian have gone up this month, starting on the 30th of August. Both models cost $54 and they're planned to ship in the last quarter of 2025. The last two are some scale figures. The 1/8 scale figure of Joshua is up for pre-order at 25,000 yen, releasing in May 2025, and the Dana 1/7 scale is up for 29,000 yen, releasing in Q4 2025. On the developer side of things, the Legend of Heroes Gagarv Trilogy mobile title is now available worldwide for mobile and PC, so it's there if you're interested of course. And some interesting news now regarding Xseed. For several years they have effectively been a subsidiary of Marvelous Games, but in recent organisational changes they are now going to be working on discovering and publishing external projects for the future, like Ys Memoir Ovenfelgana. This could be important when considering a big reveal that happened at this month's Nintendo Direct. We're going to touch on that soon. Anyway, Trails Through Daybreak has since been noted as the highest rated game in the series to date in the West, sitting at a score of around 88 out of 100 on all platforms. And the Trails series has been doing well in general. Falcom reported that the series has sold over 8 million units in their latest financial report. In light of that growing success, they have also clearly been working with NIS America to get games out more rapidly, with the publisher stating that English fans will no longer need to wait too long for future Falcom releases, which I believe is actually happening with the likes of Daybreak 2 coming out in early 2025 and Ys 10 Nordics coming out quite soon after the Japanese release. Talking about future Falcom releases, another one was announced this month, and it was a big one. I'm sure if you are a Trails fan, you know what it is, but Sky First Chapter is getting a full-on remake called Trails in the Sky the First. You could pretty much hear the collective standing of fans across the globe when it was first announced, and it's fair to say that I also was very happy with the news. Even so, it did leave us with some questions, things that I am concerned about, because questions mean uncertainty, and until those answers come out, anything can happen. My main issue is that some of these questions should not exist, like the Western publisher that I feel should have been decided upon before the game was revealed. I feel the only reason it hasn't been decided upon yet is because Falcom were potentially made to rush the game's reveal for Nintendo Direct. But for me, I expect to know who will distribute the game for Western audiences at the very least, especially for a game as large as this. That is where my concern comes from. There are questions here that shouldn't exist. Now in the video itself, which I did a couple of days back, I was going over what we knew. I gave a bit of conjecture here and there, but my opinion on, say, exclusivity was mostly kept to myself. If I am to put my hat in the ring though on whether the game will come to other platforms or stay on the Switch, it is undoubtedly that the game will release on other platforms, and I've had that stance since the game was revealed at the Direct. It is not a case of if for me, it is only a case of when. Will it be on release day or at a later date? I think at present Falcom have an agreement with Nintendo whereby they cannot disclose other platforms, similar to what happened with Xbox and Persona with Reload, Golden and Royal. Later down the line, those three games had their other platforms announced. I think the Sky Remake is in that same lane. At worst, it could be a timed exclusive for the platform. But I think this is why the likes of Falcom and NIS America have been giving nothing responses in response to media outlets, because they cannot even stipulate that other platforms are in the works in line with their agreement with Nintendo. So irrespective of an NIS America public relations employee stating otherwise, my thoughts are that the two favourites for the publishing of the remake in the West are still NIS America and Xseed, with a slight edge given to Xseed due to them holding the original license to Sky and the recent restructuring which we touched on earlier. I'll be very surprised if Falcom opt to do it themselves, and though I think Nintendo could be a contender here, it makes more sense to me that one of the other two take the responsibility. In addition, I also think there are other hints here for multiple platforms, like the gameplay not looking like it's from a base Switch. I mean, bravo if they've managed to get it running like that on the console. Falcom are wizards if they've managed to do that. But for me, that is not Switch gameplay. In addition, Falcom often release their games on one platform before bringing them elsewhere in the future anyway. Let's be real, the questions will be answered in due course. There are plenty to answer, but these concerns will be alleviated in the coming months. On to the general JRPG news now, starting with merch. Atlus have announced a Kickstarter is soon to begin for an SMT-themed board game. It'll feature over 70 demons and will look to emulate key gameplay features like fusion and negotiation. The Kickstarter begins on the 11th of September. A visual collection for Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal will go up for $73, releasing on November the 26th. And Noir and Joker pop-up parade figures have been announced for $32, releasing in Q3 2025. Vanillaware have shared that a Unicorn Overlord art book is due to release in October this year for 4,400 yen. Ryu ga Gotoku Studios are up next, and a vinyl record, Baka Mitai, has been announced for release in November this year. It's not yet up for pre-order. And also, the Amazon Prime Like a Dragon live-action series, which basically came out of the blue a month or so back, it's not looking good if I'm honest, as it seems like the actors were explicitly told not to play the games. Apparently none of the team have any background on the series, instead it was an attempt by them to give their own interpretation to the series without any sort of referral influence. Not for me. Adaptations like this should be faithful to the source material, so it's not looking too promising. Limited Run Games have launched a physical edition of Valkyria Chronicles. There are 3 editions, with the most expensive, the Ragnite edition, coming to $200. Square are last up for merch, as is often the case. Physical versions of the Kingdom Hearts soundtracks are up for pre-order, ranging from $30 to $42 and shipping in September. The Visions of Mana strategy guide has launched in Japan following the game's release. And lastly, Square relaunched the Pixel Remasters on their own site and various retailers for Final Fantasy. Those who missed out, therefore, have another chance to add it to their own physical collection. 2D developer news now, and we are starting with Square. It has been confirmed that the upcoming remake of Romancing Saga 2 is estimated to be around 40 to 50 hours for a standard playthrough. As for a mobile title, another one of Square's is shutting down. The global release of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius shuts down on 30th of October. And talking about shutdowns, a rather sad update came out in regards to Oka Studios, who are the developers of Visions of Mana, which of course just released. The report is that outside of a couple of jobs remaining to roll out the remaining games of the studio, it is on the cusp of closure. Apparently this began back in spring this year, so it hasn't exactly come out of the blue, but it's not nice to hear, especially following the release of the game. Capcom have recently reiterated that they want to bring back many of their older and classic IPs, which to JRPG fans raises the question of Breath of Fire, but at present it looks like they're more focused on series like, say, Dead Rising. Ryu ga Gotoku have recently trademarked the name Yakuza Wars in Japan, which might be related to their next release in the Like a Dragon franchise. Bandai Namco now, and the MMO Blue Protocol has completely flopped. It will be shutting down in Japan for January the 18th next year, and that also confirms there will be no worldwide release anymore. There is better news though, much better news, as Bandai Namco have announced the Tales of 30th Anniversary Remastered project, which is a drive over the next year to bring a host of remasters for the series to modern platforms. One game was already announced at this month's Nintendo Direct, which we'll mention soon, but I expect Xillia to be announced in due course too, due to that leak last month. This explains why many of the games were delisted earlier this year. It seems that Bamco want to steer players towards those remasters when they come out. Studio Wild Rose in recent months have made it clear that they were struggling to find a publisher for their Shadow Heart spiritual successor in Pennyblood. Well, there's been some good news here, as they have apparently been approached by several publishers since, though nothing has been agreed on as of yet. Atlus are up next, and it's more for the fans this time around. A very impressive fan mod called the Kotone Cutscenes Project has recently been released to add animated cutscenes for FemC's route in Persona 3 Portable. These cutscenes have been adapted from the PS2 version of the game, with upscaling and alternate scenes depending on choices made. Monolith Soft are up next, and they have recently stated that they are looking for a new RPG executive for an upcoming game. The executive director will remain Takahashi himself, but the game is described as a title that will take on new challenges the studio has never done before. Inti Creates are up next, as a demo for Card in Seal will be releasing on September the 4th for PC and a day later for Nintendo Switch. Idea Factory also had some interesting updates too in regards to the Neptunia Rebirth 2 and 3 delays. It seems like PS4 trophies have recently been added, suggesting the games are now close to release, but remember, Idea Factory also stated that they have no plans to release these versions in the West. The ones we're getting, the Switch versions, have been delayed until further notice. No updates have been made since that statement. Two upcoming releases now, starting with delays, of which there is only one, and it's just Level 5 doing Level 5 things, at least on the management side. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, has been delayed to an unspecified period. Expect to hear the same for Deca Police. Visual novels, briefly, because there are some notable ones that have been announced this month. Fate Hollow Atraxia Remastered is coming to Nintendo Switch and PC on an unannounced date. Fate Stay Night Remastered launched this month worldwide, but it is digital only unfortunately. And a Japan only one here, but Tokimeki Memorial is getting a remaster for the Switch, releasing in 2025. We end the August news roundup with the upcoming RPGs as always. A couple of Japan-only entries first that I imagine might come west in the future. Fairy Tail RPG, Stray Children, is releasing on December the 26th for Nintendo Switch. And SRPG The 100 Line Last Defense Academy is releasing on April the 24th, 2025 for Nintendo Switch and PC. The rest of these announcements are all coming west. Deck-building roguelite RPG Fairy Tail Dungeons has released this month, August the 26th, for PC. It's already profitable as well, because it's already sold around 10,000 units, and as an indie project with a modest investment, that's a pretty good return. Turn-based RPG Fate Extra Record is releasing in 2025 for PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch and PC. Action RPG Alabaster Dawn, coming from the makers of Crosscode, will have early access in late 2025 and is coming to PC and unspecified consoles. SRPG Muv-Luv Tactics has been announced with no release date, and no platforms have been confirmed as of yet. Turn-based RPG Sky Ocean Wings for Hire is releasing on October the 10th for PS5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch and PC. Turn-based RPG The Nameless Slay Dragon is releasing on September the 26th for PC. Dungeon RPG Touhou Gensou Wanderer Foresight is releasing on September the 18th for PS4 and Nintendo Switch. Dungeon RPG Metro Questa Osaka is releasing on September the 13th for all modern platforms except for PC. Turn-based RPG Bloomtown A Different Story is releasing on September the 24th for all modern platforms. Turn-based RPG Keylocker Turn-based Cyberpunk Action, that is its actual name, is releasing on September the 18th for PS5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch and PC. Action RPG Neptunia Game Maker R Revolution is releasing in October 2024 for Xbox Series, and it is already on PS4, PS5 and Nintendo Switch. Dungeon RPG Labyrinth of Torhor Tri, The Dreaming Girls and the Mysterious Orbs is releasing between winter 2024 and spring 2025 for PC. Action RPG Fairy Tail 2 is releasing on December the 13th for PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch and PC. Creature Taming RPG Dragon Quest Monsters The Dark Prince is releasing on September the 11th for PC, it is also on Switch. Dating Sim Action RPG Eternites is releasing on October the 17th for Nintendo Switch, it is also on PS4, PS5 and PC. Turn-based RPG Sea of Stars Throes of the Watchmaker, a DLC for Sea of Stars, is releasing in spring 2025 for all modern platforms. Turn-based RPG Romancing Saga Minstrel Song Remastered International is releasing in early 2025 for PS4, PS5 and Nintendo Switch. Action RPG Final Fantasy XVI is releasing on September the 17th for PC, it is already on PS5. Action RPG Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma is releasing spring 2025 for Nintendo Switch and PC. Action RPG Yakuza Kiwami is releasing on the 24th of October for Nintendo Switch, it is already on PS4, Xbox One and PC. Turn-based RPG Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster is releasing on March the 6th, 2025 for all modern platforms. Action RPG Tales of Grace's F Remastered is releasing on January the 17th, 2025 for all modern platforms. And finally, turn-based RPG Atelier Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories and the Envisioned Land is releasing early 2025 for all modern platforms. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe for more JRPG content and consider joining my Patreon if you're interested. Peace.